Shadows settle on the place that you left. Our minds are troubled by the emptiness. Destroy the middle, it's a waste of time. From the perfect start to the finish line. And if you're still breathing, you're the lucky ones. 'Cause most of us are heaving through corrupted lungs. We're setting fire to our insides for fun. Collecting names of the lovers that went wrong. The lovers that went wrong. We are the reckless, we are the wild youth, creating visions of our future truth. And one of us will die before he gets there. And if you're still bleeding, you're the lucky ones. 'Cause most of us, our feelings, they are dead and they are gone. We're setting fire to our insides for fun. Collecting names of the lovers that went wrong. The lovers that went wrong. And you caused it. And you caused it. And you caused it. I was scared of dentists in the dark. I was scared of pretty girls and starting conversations. I like my friend turning green. You're the magician's assistant in their dreams. When they come unstuck, lady running down to the riptide, taking away to the dark side. I wanna be your left arm. I love you when you're singing that song, and I got a lump in my throat 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. There's this movie that I think you'll like. This guy decides to quit his job and heads for New York City. This cowboy is running from himself, and she's been living on the higher shelf.
Well, hey there, peeps. How you doing? I hope you're enjoying the COG, our opening act for the happy hour. I am here tonight in the middle of the impeachment trial with my co-host with the Snifflists tonight, Kevin Logan. Kevin, would you like to moan at the people?
I'm very ill.
He is very ill.
I'm very ill.
He's currently streaming live from his sickbed couch. Where are you?
Yeah, no, it's the exact same spot as always.
But you're sick this time.
But I'm sick.
Are you?
So even less energy and well, actually less energy, but more actual research done for this one.
Okay, so less violent, sexy dancing this time around.
Oh no! There's the violent, sexy dancing is like a natural, like it's like my resting bitch face.
I just picture
the flu can't stop me. I will be violent, sexy dancing to the day I drop.
Now, are you upright or are you pulling a Mike Switchberry on us?
I don't know what that euphemism is supposed to be.
Because you said that he does some of the shows with his phone on his chest, just lying on his couch.
Oh no, I was set up like normally, and I'm just talking.
Are you in
talking with my face?
Are you in your gym jams?
No, what the fuck? I don't wear
Do you
gym
what?
jams.
Do you?
What kind of fucking savage do you take me for?
What do you wear to bed at night then?
T-shirt, boxers.
But in the
In the
winter.
summer, it's free ball.
But what about in the winter when it's freezing, like now?
T-shirt and boxers, it's fine. You're under the fucking covers. It's good. I don't live in the Arctic.
What do you have, like 7 duvets or something? It's cold.
No,
It's
just
0
one.
degrees out. What do you keep your flat at? I
Yeah,
keep mine at like
I'm a
18.
fat bastard. I've layers of blubber to keep me warm in the cool waters.
Hey! In Wisconsin, we call that your beer jacket.
I don't need to know about
Yeah,
your
you just have enough
Canadian folks here.
natural insulation. You put a little beer on
Yeah,
top of it,
exactly.
and then you can go shirtless at a Packer game.
Exactly. I winter well.
Yeah, you never see those really, really thin guys with like no fat on their bodies going shirtless at Packer games.
No, it's always the big fat fuckers, and all power to them. If you've got it, like you've worked hard for that body, go for it.
Yeah, don't mind your fingers and toes. They were optional anyway.
Exactly. You got 10 of them. You can afford to lose like 3 or 4. It's fine.
I got some
Okay.
boxers the other day, by the way. I found I like to sleep in boxers in the summer as well, and there were some on sale. Velvety ones, so they'll be nice kind of transition, before it gets too warm in the summer. It starts to get cool in the autumn.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Although I can't help but feel you're appropriating my culture.
Well, kind of, yeah, but I don't think. Yeah, well, women have been culturally appropriating men's wardrobe since about the 1920s in the United States.
I can't help but feel that virtually every girlfriend I've ever had is not just culturally appropriated, but frankly has colonised my wardrobe. Yeah. The amount of T-shirts and jumpers and shit I've lost to like exes. I mean, it's not the worst problem in the world, but buy your own shit.
You're gonna have to date someone much smaller than you or much bigger than you, because then she won't be able to fit in them unless she uses them for cleaning cloths.
I was about to say, well, there aren't women who are much bigger than me, to be honest. Just generally speaking, there are some big ladies out there, not many. And the small ones like it because you can wear a T-shirt like a dress. It's ridiculous.
Just put a belt around it.
Well, no, not even that. It covers everything because they're small.
Well, I thought it was that guys. Well, it was more with button-down sort of Oxford shirts that guys sort of het guys who were.
Do I look like that much of a preppy cunt? Really? That I own those things?
You have to have some button-down shirts in your closet.
I've got shirts, but not you Oxford shirt. Get out of it.
So we draw people in talking about impeachment, and then we waffle on. How long have we been nattering on here about absolutely nothing?
I don't
only 4
fucking
minutes.
care.
It felt like longer.
Again, I'm not the kind of person who owns Oxford shirts or gives a shit about our audience.
All we know is that when you date women, your clothing goes missing.
Yeah, and that's when I'm at my best. I feel dreadful at the minute. I actively despise them tonight. Like it's a visceral hatred.
What are they? Yeah. What are they? Well, they're just doing their chat thing. They're wishing you well, actually. I don't know.
Other people's existence
if you've seen
offends me.
Kevin is dying of snuffless. Poor Kev, feel better. Aw, get well soon, Kev. T-shirts and boxers, wuss. Blubber is warm.
Blubber is warm.
Don't care about Kev. Just hope Rory Katz hasn't caught it.
No,
that's a chat.
Neither Chopsy or Rory Katz have got the flow. Although they are both annoying bastards.
Thanks to Miss Snarky for encouraging interaction with our content to further promote it in the recommendations to bring more people into the Happy Hour Club. Thank you for that. Oxford shirts are the most capitalist shirts. On what scale? I don't know. Is that because it's
on a scale of tattered rags?
Surely they like
Oxford shirt.
Surely golf wear is the most capitalist. Like a polo would be the most capitalist of shirts.
Well, I don't want to be that guy, but I play golf. But I play like working class golf. We got municipal courses and shit. I'm like a chav golfer.
Is that where your bowling shirt doubles as your golf shirt?
No, I don't wear special. I just go in what I was going to wear. I've played golf in jeans. I don't give a fuck.
So Darius,
it's not like a private super duper club or anything. They look and say, Like Birmingham is a fine array of municipal golf courses. Is fine.
Darius Jonas says, Daddy is a misanthrope today. That's for you. And 250, yeah, we know
I'm not
humans
sure how I feel
can't
about
give cats balls.
Daddy. I've never, to be honest, when the inside of my face is mostly phlegm. I don't know that I've ever felt less daddy before, to be honest.
I
think I've got such a
sort of dread to
temperature at
think
the
what
minute.
feeling like a daddy would be. I sort of don't want to engage in that role play.
I'm running such a temperature at the minute, an erection might kill me, to be honest. I don't know.
You're going to scald yourself.
I'm not tempting fate. Yeah, exactly. I might, yeah. There's too much blood in my face. If the penis takes the rest, I mean, my organs are going to shut down or something. I don't know. I think that's how it works. I'm not a biologist, unless you haven't noticed. Don't make me laugh. My fucking throat. Jesus.
So besides you being sick and us discussing fashion, which is what people always tune in to our show for. Yeah, fashion.
One of his less good songs, but still.
Yeah, but there was a little bit of the Irani instrumentation.
Oh, that
there.
yeah.
Now you have to please do a bit of the theme song.
I don't know that I can do my genius justice in this state, to be honest, but meh 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 meh, which I literally only put in there as a joke for myself, as a placeholder for the actual audio, because the music was so shit that editing that bit together would have driven me fucking insane, having to listen to that shit over and over again. So you doing
that was better.
So yeah, me doing that was like a joke way of
was mental
for me
relief.
to be like to get through it, and then I was going to replace that with the actual audio and do it properly. But then I was like, oh, fuck it, who cares? And I put it out, and everyone was like, that's the best thing you've ever done. Fuck you.
Can I tell you my favorite part of that as well?
Wow.
It's near the end when you go meh 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 meh. You just sound like a duck fart.
Well, that's what he's. I mean, it's shit. I can't believe he's got like a fucking degree in like music or some shit from like a real proper music college in California or somewhere, like a proper prestigious place. And his music is awful. In what is just matter of factly a fucking dreadful piece of documentary movie making, the music is arguably the worst bit.
Oh no!
It's awful.
But it inspired that bit, which makes it worth it.
It did. It was so dreadful.
I have one.
It's so dreadful. It brought the best. It brought the best out of me. It was that movie was my muse.
All right. Okay, I think we should get to the topic now.
Anyway, moving on from untalented pricks in America to other untalented pricks in America.
Yes,
yay!
The impeachment trial is on. It is going to be basically a sped up, hurry up. Mitch McConnell as the aim. He tried to do it even like at 1:00 in the morning initially, but his idea is Go ahead.
They were going to do it over 2 days with like 12-hour days, starting at 1, so they would have gone potentially till 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
These people, including Mitch McConnell, I imagine have an average bedtime of about 8 p.m., to be honest. So
well,
I don't know
eat
how
at 4, so maybe 9.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. Unless they've got they're bound up again. Oh no, the constipation's killing me. Me rheumatoid.
Give me prunes and coffee.
Me varicose veins are playing up again. Oh, anyway.
We have to look forward to.
I don't know what the fuck he thought he was doing. That scheduling for that kind of time. In what fit state are these very old people? I'm not dissing them. They're old.
I'll tell you what.
It's not fair.
Yeah, well, the intent is to get them so exhausted that at the end of 4 days that they won't vote for any more evidence or more witnesses because they won't be able to tolerate it anymore. That's the point.
Well, possibly, but I think probably the most pressing thing for him was that Trump wants it done before the State of the Union.
Yes, that's also a consideration.
He can tout like, oh, I was exonerated in front of like the nation. So that's why they want to do it there. That's why they're so desperate not to have people and all of that shit.
But
you can tell.
he
You
had to
can
back
tell.
down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and this is the thing. And it's you can tell the difference between Mitch McConnell, who is, I mean, as equally dreadful as Trump in many respects, but is a proper politician who knows what he's doing, and Trump who doesn't. Because Trump obviously wanted this done in exactly the way Trump wanted it, and McConnell, being pathetic, sort of went along with it. But he understands his constituent, right? He understands the people he's dealing with, and so had to cave in at the last second, which apparently infuriated Trump, because everything does. Even though his son, quote unquote, wrote a book called Triggered. Yes, but then had to do it so pathetically and last minute that he did it in pen. Look, he literally had to change the document in pen by hand.
They think it was after the Senate lunch when he was.
Yeah, what kind of 1950s barbarity is this?
Well, basically, it showed that they were surprised by the pushback. It wasn't what they were planning to do, and he had to make these concessions. And then I keep wanting to say Olympia Snowe, but it's not. It's Susan Collins. Was like all over that. She's like, "Oh yeah, I did that." People are like, "No, I did it too."
Yeah, Susan Collins again. I can't help but begin to despise her, because at least to a degree, the hardline people are at least like consistent and not honest as such, but like transparent in a way they don't intend to be. Whereas Susan Collins plays the middle ground card and then always votes the way the party tell her to. So it's just so infuriating. Anyway, so that happened, but it's really not a sign of a party that well organized when they're literally having to change things last minute by pen. Because obviously, like back in the 50s or whatever, most documents would have been changed that way, because you had to type the entire thing up again on like typewriters and shit, which takes ages. But they've got it on surely they've got it on a file. They could have just changed and printed out again. This is ridiculous. That's
I don't think
last minute.
Yeah, it was. It was very last minute, and so. Yeah, I guess we should talk first about the day of the rules and all the amendments and stuff, because it was our day of getting a preview of what is going to be the major difference between the two teams.
Yeah, if you want to talk about that, go for it, Krista.
Well, basically, the House team has got their shit together, and the president's team doesn't. I think that kind of sums it up, right?
Yeah, that Philbin guy is fucking dread. I don't know what they thought. That
Philbin? Which one is Philbin? They could both be Philbin.
The third guy to speak? I can't even...
Oh, is he a real person? Oh, sorry. I was thinking of Sekalo or Sipolone.
No. I can't remember his first name, because he's so shit that I don't even remember. But his surname's Philbin anyway, and he's one of the president's council. And he's fucking awful. I don't know why they ever let him in front of a camera. He's dreadful. You watch Cipolo, whatever his name is, the greatest description. I literally laughed for like 5 minutes when our friend Beach on the Twitters, hello there, Chocolate Thunder, if you're listening, described him as Pat Robertson's homunculus.
Oh yes, that's great.
I laughed for like 5 minutes solid on that. That was such a great description. If you don't know what homunculus is, look it up. I'm not Google, for fuck's sake.
You're online already. You're watching us.
Exactly.
Put it in the chat.
You have access to the internet. Look it the fuck up.
But the House managers,
anyway,
they have one, they know the case inside and out because they built it. And second, they've been clipping stuff and they've been looking at Twitter. They've definitely been keeping an eye on Twitter, especially that Dershowitz segment that came up today, but I'm jumping ahead. But on Tuesday, they took up a series of amendments to vote for new evidence to be requested and for new witnesses to be subpoenaed in documents. And they gave them the list. They're like, this is the documents. We know they exist. The White House won't let them be turned over. Would you please ask for them? Wouldn't you like to see what's inside of them? We've had people testify as to what's inside of them. We know they exist.
Yeah, but can I just... One thing that did amuse me, it's so American. In the document, because it was the Schumer amendment or whatever that they were discussing about, and he was trying to get access to the witnesses and documents and all that sort of stuff. And he used the phrase "chargé d'affaires" in the thing, which is like obviously the head of mission or whatever.
Yeah, it's when you don't
Ukraine.
have a diplomat. It's like the next person.
Indeed, but it's pronounced chargé d'affaires.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And but the guy obviously who never encountered this phrase before decided to pronounce it charges d'affaires.
Oh no!
The clerk of the Senate or whatever he is, the guy reading it.
No.
I just thought that's delicious. I
thought you were going to do
That's
charged
amazing.
affairs, but that's even worse.
Yeah,
Oh,
amazing.
that's so much worse.
Anyway, but I mean, to be fair, obviously he'd never encountered the phrase before, but that's still. You're not expecting French to pop up in an American piece of legislation, I suppose, but there you go.
All the entrepreneurs in the United States came from somewhere else.
Exactly. That's that's still one of my favourite Bushisms, but my favourite definitely is I believe that human beings and fish can coexist peacefully. What the fuck are you talking about?
The thing is,
did he think that the fish and the humans were at war at some point?
I was actually thinking about this today or yesterday, that when it came to W, there are maybe 15 or 16 phrases that we now look back and quote and link to him. How you could fill a book with dumb things Trump has said. I mean, just really, like, you look at it and you think, did you know where you were going when you started that sentence? Because I don't. What? Just when you just are left confused, going, how are you the president?
Yeah, basically, you could quote the entirety of his president, and it would be one long fuck up, basically.
Yeah, and you know what someone said today was that he talks to fill the space, and sometimes you just need to just stop talking, say less.
Yeah.
As Aaron Burr in the Hamilton musical sings to Alexander Hamilton, talk less, smile more. Don't tell everybody everything that's in your head in the moment you're thinking it. And especially when he is making stuff up on the spot, he just gets himself in trouble. Like, did you see what he said today?
No, what did he say today?
Or within the last 24 hours, because again, the time differences. He was in Davos and then he was back in the States. But he was talking, he said he was watching the impeachment trial, and he said, yes, we have all the documents and they don't have them. Yeah,
basically admitting that they're hiding the thing.
He just admitted to obstruction of Congress.
Yeah, he's really dense.
And you're just like, why would you say that out loud? Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So, Miss Snarky in the chat says his presidency has been the longest, most fucked up run-on sentence ever.
Yeah, that's precisely correct.
I need that on a T-shirt. Just put Trump's face on it and that quote. You could make money off that because people would be like, "That's true."
Do you still have the postmodern, whatever the fuck it was?
Oh, advocacy of the postmodern or Marxist, whatever.
Marxists.
Yeah, it's pretty washed. Unfortunately, the ironing print did not withstand many washes. Even when I turned it inside out, it started to crack and peel. Sadly, so now I just wear it to sleep.
Well, you know who to blame for that?
Capitalism.
No, probably the SJWs.
Oh right, okay. Sorry, I was seeing people blame capitalism for very random things on Twitter earlier, and that was a little callback to.
No, it's the SJWs to blame for everything, Krista.
Yeah, well, in this case, it was having more copies of Tolkien's book on a shelf than new authors, and someone was like, capitalism, and I was like, yeah, because more people know Tolkien. I mean, it sucks, but more people want that. But anyway.
I don't think that's necessarily random. That's just true, isn't it? It's market forces.
Yeah. But they were like, it's new authors are ruined because of capitalism. Like, I don't think that's capitalism's fault in this case. And that was a little callback. That's all. Like I said, it was just a little thing I saw on Twitter.
Well, at least they weren't blaming the Jews. That's something.
Well, in this case, yeah, right. So, yes, I was not listening. I had no one following Alex Jones in my feed, so that was good.
How dare you? Alex Jones is a fucking journalist.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, in the same way Andy No and...
in the same way that I am an iron.
Tim Pool. Like, yeah, I thought a golfing iron, like a wood or an
Well, I
iron.
was thinking more like a steam iron for Oxford shirts.
I
Callback.
kind of
Callback.
surprised you didn't say you were a wood. A
No,
drive iron.
I'm a putter. Don't know what that means.
And those are the four, right? Basically, you got your putter, your woods.
No, you've got all kinds
Your
of
driver.
hybrid woods and fairway woods and stuff.
Yeah, but
It's
that's
very
like
strange.
that's still tech. But it's
Also,
not
you've
like its
got
own thing, right?
wedges. You got wedges.
Yeah,
You got your
yeah, your
sandwich,
wedges. Yeah, your
cutting
wedges.
wedge.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I would say wedge
And
is
you
your own
could-
category.
Anyway, yeah.
Sorry, again. So back to impeachment. This is like the attention deficit disorder night on the show.
Well, I'm not sure this is happening. This could just be a fever dream. I
We're
don't
just
know.
getting random people in
like,
the chat saying things related. Anyway, so Tuesday, again, getting back to things that we were supposed to be talking about, the two sides were able to start to kind of make their cases a little bit. And I thought the House really took advantage of the fact that they would only have so much time to explain their story to the American people. And rather than just saying, here is a list of evidence that we have, can we please see it? They took the opportunity to tell stories and show video and show quotes and have bullet pointed items of like, here's where we're going and here are how these four things fit together. They all knew what parts they were going to play. And Adam Schiff, like, there are great people all the way down the line. They've got a deep bench, if we want to use a baseball reference here. But
well,
it
can
is.
I just make one criticism of the choices? I think they all did really well. I think Schiff's done brilliantly well. I thought Nadler was good. I spoke last night to you, didn't know about Val Demings.
Mm-hmm.
I think has spoken her way into a credible presidential run, possibly in the future, if she wants to. But I forgot the guy's name. The black dude. Yeah, I'm probably racist or whatever. I don't know. But he's a little bit underwhelming as a speaker. Do you not think? Or maybe it's just compared to the other people. I don't know. But he left me a little bit empty. But other than that, they've been exceptional, to be honest.
Yeah, I think for some reason I remember watching more of the end of his. Let me see, House managers. I'll get their names up.
But just in case anyone thinks I'm being racist, Val Demings is black as well, so I can't be racist. Some of my favourite people I don't know that live thousands of miles away are black. Right.
So where's that? I want to say Hakeem Jeffries.
Yes,
that's the name.
That's literally his name.
Okay.
As soon as you said it, I was like, yeah, that's the dude.
Okay, all right.
He's got a cool name. I'll give him that. He's got a badass name. Yeah. But his speaking style is not ideal, really.
Well, maybe he'll kind of change it up. The other thing, too, is, I don't know what his background...
Change it up? Like what? He's going to start doing fucking performance poetry? What?
No, it's, Adam Schiff has clearly delivered so many opening and closing statements to a jury. Right? I mean,
that motherfucker, you can tell, has got, he's got experience spinning the yarn for a group of people he needs to convince.
Oh, if Jerry Nadler was up there kind of like doing a slow foxtrot or something in front of the jury, Adam Schiff put on his ice skates and he was like doing Kristi Yamaguchi, he was doing triple axels, SoCals, he was like skating backwards and being beautiful and graceful all the time. He was just
He was like a swan.
Yes.
He was like a swan of justice. I don't know what that means.
Yes, but I mean, he really was. I definitely. I mean, I couldn't watch the whole thing because I had to go to bed. So I don't. I saw Val.
Lazy motherfucker.
Yeah, I didn't stay up until.
Motherfucker.
How long did they go? Till 1 or 2 in the morning or something? Anyway.
Well, UK time, it was like 3 in the morning or something.
Okay, so 4 a.m. my time. Yeah, I couldn't stay up that late. I do have to work. It is a school night, but I did stay up till like 2 in the morning or something.
You should have been incredibly ill, like I was.
Yes, skive off. No, you're really. I would have been skiving off because I'm not actually ill. But it was clear to me. And then when the president's team got up, all they did was complain about the House managers. That really was it.
You notice this, the whole shtick, even to the point where when the accusation is put to them, oh, he abused his power. Mm-hmm. They don't say, no, he didn't. They say, you can't impeach your president for that.
Yes.
Wow, you're literally just seeding the ground of he's abused his power. Like,
And-
what the fuck?
Yeah. And I never got the sense when the House managers were up there that they were just riffing and trying to fill time and stuttering and stumbling for something to say. And
we literally said this, didn't we, when we looked at the documents, that the Democratic one looked like it was sort of well in the
a distinction
had a
first.
purpose to it.
Yeah.
Whereas it was just sort of like the Republican one was just they had a word limit they had to get to, and they were just putting shit in there that like, they were just repeating themselves as well.
Yeah.
Like it was filler.
And they lost 50 years in between their...
Yeah, they lost 50 years, 200 years, 150 years. Apparently it's a fortnight now.
Within one page, they contradict themselves. Yeah, and they didn't even use up all their time.
Yeah. They yielded back like fucking, was it 17 minutes or something?
Mm-hmm.
From like an hour? That's not good, guys.
Yeah. So that's so even though I'm sad that the House's case is coming to the end, because honestly I was just mainlining. I would turn it on like the last couple nights and just listen from 6 o'clock in the evening till 2 o'clock in the morning. I was doing other things, but I had it on the whole time and was trying to always keep focus because they were taking breaks and things too. But the other thing is the White House team didn't have any PowerPoints, any videos, any slides. They hadn't prepared anything like that. It was just such a difference.
The Democratic thing was, the entire thing was, they'll say 3 or 4 lines, and here's an example. And then,
or here's the person saying it in their own words, because you didn't watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not just that, but we've had Republican senators literally walk out early of the hearings.
Yeah, but one of them, I can't remember who it was, but
Dave.
Yeah, it was Dave. He came out and told reporters, or at least was heard saying, I didn't know that before. I hadn't heard that.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Because they live in a Fox bubble, these guys, And they're senators. They're not sitting around watching hearings. They're like doing their own stuff,
When we say Fox bubble, we don't literally live like a fantasy world where there's a bubble with a fox living in it. Because that would be amazing. That would be so...
unless it was... what was it? The trash fox?
It would be way less. It would be way less racist as well. You're talking about the crack fox.
Crack fox, yes, it was the crack fox.
Yeah, it's just
you wouldn't want to live there either.
Sound. I want to kill you, boy. Yeah, that was the crack fox. That was my impression. That was my fluey impression of the crack fox.
There you go, captured forever.
I did not expect the crack fox to come up tonight.
You never expect the crack fox to come up.
Well, and you never expect the Spanish Inquisition. So.
Oh, and speaking of which, R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. to Mr. Jones, who died, which is really sad. And not just that, but oh god, it was fucking heartbreaking. Did you see? Oh fuck's sake! I've totally forgotten his name now. Oh bollocks! Michael Palin.
Okay, I was gonna say, is it another Python? Is it Michael Palin?
I had Eric Idle in my mind, and I knew it wasn't right. Anyway, Michael Palin being interviewed about this last night, and obviously it was not it was effusive in his praise for Jones and all the rest of it. And then towards the end, he was asked like, "Oh, what will you miss about him?" And he said, "Just go into the pub, right?" And he started to tear up. He basically started to cry. And it was fucking heartbreaking because Michael Palin he's not sad. He's happy, smiley, laughy man. Yeah. He does the awesome fucking travel programs and stuff where he's having fun times with weird African tribes dancing around and stuff. Like, it's cool. And then he was just this crying old man. And it was just, oh, God. It was horrible. Yeah. But anyway, R.I.P. I mean, John Cleese, regardless of his most recent racist nonsense, still a funny fucker when he was interviewed about it. He just said 2 down, 4 to go.
Oh, God. Man. Oh, God.
But that's in keeping with it, because I've seen his speech he gave when, for fuck's sake, the first one that died.
Graham Chapman.
Graham Chapman died. His speech, his eulogy, when he said, "I'd like to say, I'm going to miss him and he was awesome, but no, fuck it, I'm glad the bastard died." Which got a massive laugh, but that's a high-risk joke.
Yeah.
That could go either way.
Yeah. Of course, him being John Cleese and a comedian, people knew how to.
Yeah,
take
you
it,
probably
but-
give him a bit of leeway.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's a bold joke to tell at a funeral.
Yeah, that is. Well, there you go. Anyway. So, yeah.
Right. So back to the impeachment. Again.
And now for something completely different. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, nice segue.
There you go.
Then we kind of talked a bit about Tuesday already, but I thought so. On Tuesday, they moved to actually sort of making their arguments, and as Adam Schiff pointed out in the day before, when they were making motions for new evidence and new witnesses to guarantee a vote on them, or to guarantee them or request them, I think he said, "Look, here's the way things are going to go if you vote down these amendments. We're going to have the opening statements, and then you'll have a chance to vote up or down on voting on witnesses. And if you vote no, that's it. That's the trial. The opening statements are the trial if you don't have new evidence and new witnesses." And then today, or yesterday, when the Republicans came out of the end of the session, they were saying, "Oh, well, I haven't heard anything new. We've heard all this stuff before." Like, you just fucking voted not to get any new witnesses or evidence, as people have pointed out.
Yeah, I voted not to hear anything new, and thus I heard nothing new. Case closed. What?
And now I'm mad about it. The House didn't do their job.
Yeah.
The president obstructed.
Oh, can we just
So it's their
say
fault that he obstructed. So we have to punish them for his obstruction.
Yeah. Could be argued that the Senate has basically obstructed Congress as well.
Well, at this point, it is. Well, that's what got Nadler in trouble, wasn't it?
Yeah. But going back slightly, a nice, not a mic drop moment, but a kind of bird flip, I suppose, or whatever, from the mighty Swift, as I'm going to call him from now on.
Swifty Swift.
Yeah, the Swiftmeister General. His name is just Adam Schiff. Let's not let that silliness spiral out of control. We could be here all fucking day. When the President's Council, again, trying to just throw as much shit at the wall, see what sticks, said, "Oh, they're not ready to go today," blah, 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 which is obviously a rhetorical piece of nonsense. And he said, "No, we are." Schiff stood up afterwards and said, "Yeah, no, we are. We're good to go now." I call John Bolton. Let's hear from John Bolton, shall we? And then looked over at them. Now, unfortunately, the camera didn't pan to the President's Council, but I'd have liked some faces at that moment.
Well, they crapped our pants right there.
I imagine so, yes. But I thought it was a nice, fuck you. Yeah, let's go. Let's go, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Don't throw up
Step
hands if you're not going to finish it, Janice.
Exactly. Shit or get off the pot, motherfuckers. Anyway.
Yeah, a little bit of courtroom street fighting there.
You want to dance, Philbin? Let's fucking dance.
Yeah. Anyway. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Little Michael Keaton Batman 88, was that? 89?
I don't care.
All right, so.
Anyway.
Now we've got, we're up to today. And I caught the Nadler part of today. And from what I saw, it was mostly an
You call the Nads. You call the Nadman.
The Nads was up.
Good.
Oh, by the way, I would love it if someone were to take a picture of the Swifty dance and put in Adam Schiff's face on Rick's. And
yeah, that would be pretty cool.
And I don't know who you'd put. Maybe Devin Nunes crying as Morty. I don't know who you'd have as Morty. Maybe just leave Morty.
Well, yeah, but will his cow be there?
Moo,
That's
bitch.
the important thing. Moo.
I'd save that picture. It's great. It's Adam Schiff as the chairperson, sort of higher up, and then Devin Nunes slightly lower, and he's saying "moo, bitch" at Devin Nunes because of the cow thing. Very funny.
Okay, but I'm just saying, if you extend this thing any further, it becomes fanfic. It becomes a bit.
After two memes, it becomes I'm doing Adam Schiff / I don't know, somebody. 1989 Batman. Thank you.
You can't ship the Schiff. Okay?
No. He's too swifty for you.
He's a married man. Leave him alone.
Someone said he sounded like a deacon, and I went, yeah, that's actually really true. He does come across like a church deacon. You can see him up there, kind of sermon-y, doing his thing.
Well, indeed, but I thought actually another analogy. The white woman whose name totally escapes me, but is I don't know. She looks about 60, and she's a little on the larger side.
Oh, she
I
blonde?
can't remember her name.
Was she speaking
Yes.
today after Jerry Nadler?
I can't remember, but I know she spoke yesterday, relatively late,
Okay.
probably after you'd gone to bed. Anyway, she kind of struck me as like a kind of a kindly librarian, like a kind of like she'd let you off with the late fees because it's only a couple of days late. That's fine. You know what I mean? Like a really nice person, and she had her shit together, as they all did, to be fair. Yeah, so I was quite impressed with her. She seemed like a nice person. Almost too nice to be in Washington, frankly.
Oh.
But there we go.
Let's see. I've got the list of House managers here. If CNN would let me scroll down. Oh, wow. There's super big pictures, too. Okay. We've got Swifty. Well, no. Nadler, of course.
Swifty. The Nads.
Nads. There's Hakeem Jeffries.
Hakeem.
This lady? Zoe?
So today, on the floor, we'll pass a resolution naming the managers. Yeah. As I mentioned, appropriating the funds.
Librarian. She's just like, well, the president definitely did some awful, awful shit, and here's a clip. Like, it's just really nice.
Let's just go through the rest.
Like I say, she seems like too nice to be caught up in the nonsense. Val Demings, that's who I'm standing for at the moment.
Yeah.
She really impressed me.
That's your new favorite down of the day.
Especially as I mean, she's risen up because I didn't even know who the fuck she was. So like, the first time I saw her, I was like, oh, she's badass.
I think I remember her from the impeachment hearings, actually. I think she, in the House member rounds, there were so many people, yeah. And
committee. Some of them, sometimes they're there and then sometimes they're not, like Castro. Like, he wasn't always there. Like, what? If you're on the thing, why wouldn't you be there? It's the biggest thing that's going to happen in your fucking career. Yeah.
Can I just say, I think her hairstyle just rocks, and so it stood out to me, and so I remember it, because every time I see it, I think, dang, she really just rocks that look.
Oh, well, yeah, she's got a solid look. Yeah, and she's got a rhetorical flourish. Yes. I like it.
And this is Jason Crow, who frames everything in terms of his service, so that he's like the national security angle. He's there to link American.
I can't even remember him speaking. Apologies. Yeah. I'm sure I don't want to be rude to the guy, but.
And there's also Sylvia Garcia.
White guys don't stand out in Washington, really, do they?
I think she was the one who spoke after Nadler, but no, not really. They don't stand out.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Yeah, that's not well. To be fair, not a terrible deal of difference in terms of the general description I gave you. So that's an easy mistake.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. All these white ladies look the same.
Exactly. All you honkies look the same to me. Now, you might say that's racist, but I say political correctness is a sickness of the modern age.
So there we go.
Oh, God, I've been watching this fucking twat. Oh, God, she's awful.
Who's that?
I don't reveal it because it's for an upcoming episode of the Third Manosphere, which will probably be out in August. Who knows?
Sorry, everyone who just heard me cough. Sorry about that.
That's fine, Kristi. Any of your utterances are welcome on this show.
I thought I muted myself. I didn't. But yes, this person you're listening to.
Anyway, yeah, and she's we're going about political correctness and stuff. She said that. Oh God, she said that Ben Shapiro was just to the right of center.
What? What? I'm sorry, I sound like a what alarm going off, but I'm like, what? No, sorry. That doesn't make any sense in my brain.
No, it's not. Well, it's nonsense. Yeah. This is why I put myself through to you. Go to my fucking Patreon now. I deserve all of your money.
It's hazard pay.
And just having gotten through dealing with the fucking Nazi. Brilliant, thanks.
Yeah, it's hazard pay. So yeah, what was your anyway? I thought Nadler, who I don't think his present. Well, I think he would be a better presenter if he didn't shout. I feel like he's shouting all the time, and maybe he feels like
he went to the Jim Jordan class of speech making.
Maybe, but it's just like kind of take it down a notch.
You know the golden rule of Jim Jordan speech making: shout.
Yes, and point if you can.
Yeah, there's no such thing as too much shouting.
No.
Doesn't exist.
Nope. So Nadler was up there, and I thought he did a really good job explaining the history of high crimes and misdemeanors, and also the debates around what those phrases mean and how they're meant to work within a larger structure, and how that even that impeachment structure is part of a checks and balances system. And I got to have actually through the process of listening to him, a deep appreciation for how much thought and consideration and sort of, blood, sweat, and tears went into debating this and negotiating it. And even though the framers came out thinking it was a compromised document, it's actually because maybe it was a compromised document that it's lasted as long as it has. Because the idea, I'll wrap this up quickly, is, and I didn't know this before, but it makes so much sense, that what the framers did was to break up the powers of a monarch across different branches of government. And if you know Hobbes and the Leviathan and sort of the social contract that you have with the Leviathan, that the purpose of the Leviathan is sort of to enforce contracts and keep the peace, and make war if necessary. But a monarch is, of course, holds all these powers in one person, and by dividing up the ability to levy taxes and make war and enact legislation and enforce legislation, and also the courts to make decisions that are completely separate from Congress or the president, it is a really tenuous balancing act. And a president who gets away with obstructing Congress tips that balance back towards autocracy. And so this isn't just about Donald Trump and this next election and these Republicans. We're standing on a moment of history that might determine whether or not we will be more or less susceptible to tyranny in the future. Just like when Caesar crossed the Rubicon and decided to take from Rome from a republic into a dictatorship, we might be at a Rubicon right now. So
that's a really good point. I think that's really worthwhile. But what I was mostly interested by whilst you were talking was the fact that Tony Blakeway was also watching the football like I am. He's obviously, his stream of it is ahead of mine because I saw him say goal and then I saw the goal. So
it was ruined
by, like, a few seconds. Not ruined. I was just like, what goal? Oh, that goal. Okay. So that's. But you made a really, really interesting point about how they avoided reinstitution of a monarchy and setting up a republic, which has lasted 250 years or whatever. Yeah, but I mainly talked about football.
Yeah, I mean,
which I think explains the big difference between us.
I think you can maybe a little bit relate because with Brexit and pulling away from the EU, it was forcing you to sort of reposition your identity as a British person in terms of a wider political but also like legal structure of EU law and human rights and a wider sense of globalism, and now being sort of retracted back and taken into a different political place. And I feel that moment, we talked a lot about constitutional crises and is Trump going to bring us to a constitutional crisis? And the thing is, his entire presidency has been leading up to, it's been a constitutional crisis because he's been violating the laws basically since the start. I'm just, I don't know. I mean, it feels like a time when people should have their hair on fire, but we're all just going about our lives, which is very strange. Like, I didn't know that this is how fascism happened.
Yeah. Well, okay, 2 points. Firstly, to Tony, I'm also watching the game. I'm just watching it slightly ahead of me. I think I may have paused my TV. I'm not sure. Anyway. And secondly, yes, fascism does happen like that. Like, Germany was not some backward savage nation when it fell to fascism. Neither was Spain. Neither were a great many of those European countries that did. It's amazing how a certain amount of hardship to some extent, but often financial, although it can be military and all kinds of social, and unscrupulous and knowledgeable people. And Trump isn't the knowledgeable person I'm referring to. I'm talking about the people behind him. I'm talking about the likes of Bannon and Stephen Miller and people like that, who are either amoral or immoral, as the case is, can begin to manipulate that. And it's a long process. And it's normalizing things. If you'd said at the start of Trump's presidency, he'd be having concentration camps.
Yeah.
That would have seemed like
a ridiculous thing,
alarmist and horrific. Whereas now, just like a gradual creep of, oh, well, these people are they're rapists, and I assume some of them are good people. And then you have the Muslim ban, and so you're constantly normalizing and pushing the normalizing boundary further and further away, to the point where all of a sudden, children dying in these concentration camps for want of basic medical attention or food doesn't register anymore. It's not a problem, which is incredibly alarming given the timing as well, because obviously today they celebrated, because it's Monday is the official Holocaust Memorial Day, but today they had the big thing in Israel at the Bad Yashem Institute, the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz.
Wow. Yeah.
So the symbolism is significant, and of course leads into the thing I was going to talk about with Brexit as well. It seems that you brought it up. It went under the radar today, but the actual bill for us to leave was given royal assent today. So that's basically that.
Okay.
Which, like, I've accepted that for a long time now. Basically, since the election, it was going to happen. It was a fait accompli. But the really galling element of that, and I mentioned it before, that the government had removed the Dobbs Amendment, and I've explained this before. Lord Dobbs was a guy who came over on a thing called the Kinder Transport back in the Second World War, just before. He was a Jewish child from Europe who literally is only alive today because of that, because Britain took him in as a Jewish refugee back then, because the rest of his family, who unfortunately weren't admitted, all died, all perished in the camps. And he put forward what was called the Dobbs Amendment. Now, technically, this wasn't the Dobbs Amendment because that under the last Parliament, because the Parliament ended and there's now a new Parliament. But essentially, the predecessor, the successor to the Dobbs Amendment, the government voted against, and the Lords, including Lord Dobbs himself, voted for that amendment and sent it back to the Commons, where the government overruled them and passed the bill, which in a usual sense is fine because the elected chamber should have primacy. That's absolutely fine. But led to an awful thing now where we're essentially condemning young children to death, essentially. Absolutely sickening. I don't know how else to explain it. It's not good. Really not good. And again, that's that normalizing of, oh, fuck these immigrants. That we're less far down the path of America. But that's always the case. Britain's always just a few years behind the awfulness happening in America, which is really worrying because the way America's going at the moment.
Pretty scary.
I don't want to live in that world.
Yeah. No, you don't. Believe me.
Yeah. But anyway, so did we finish up on that? I can't remember.
Well,
how far did we go?
We got up to today, basically. I think I'd given my impression of Nadler's content, and then as I had to get going because I had to set up this hangout. Zoe was speaking, Representative Zoe Lofgren, is that her name? Or no, that was yours. The last one.
Librarian.
No, I already forgot her name. The other white lady. I'm sorry. She's a freshman rep, so I haven't seen her before.
Dave.
Davina.
No, Dave.
Yeah, okay, Dave.
It's a Mexican thing. Don't be rude.
All right, that's your one.
Oh, bastard. Oh, my throat nearly exploded then.
I'm putting a tick on the chalkboard next to your name.
Oh, what was I going to say? Nadler had the money shot moment, which I've been waiting for, which was the we talked about this off air, so let's not pretend we haven't already discussed this. Yeah. But fucking oh god, my recollection of names tonight is atrocious. Lindsey Graham.
Yes, I'm gonna say the southern one.
Again, that doesn't narrow it down. There's a lot of southern ones, isn't there?
Well, including for hypocrites. Well, yeah, there's actually a lot of hypocrites too. But hypocrites on impeachment in particular, who was a House manager under Clinton, there's only one.
Yeah. Anyway, him, Lindsey Graham, the member for the great state of incest, had obviously, like you say, he was back. He's so old and corrupt that he was involved in the Clinton impeachment, and there's a famous clip of him basically saying, "Oh, it doesn't have to be a crime."
Yes.
Just be, it doesn't have to be a crime, because he's a fucking hick. I shouldn't say that. That's not nice.
It's not
but anyway,
nice.
But I mean, to be honest, all Americans are hicks to me. But
No,
it's just level of hickishness. No, also not nice, but also still true. So
what about Canadians?
Well, you are. We've already discussed this.
But other Canadians, are they hicks too? Is everyone on the North American continent?
So yeah, if you say a boot, that's fine. Like you check, you pass. You're still British enough. You got the Queen on your money and shit. It's all good. Whereas America went too far with its nonsense. Really, this independence. Right. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, good stuff. What the fuck am I talking about? Yeah, there's a clip of Lindsey Graham going on about it doesn't have to be a crime.
Yeah.
And all this shit. Basically, the complete opposite of what he's now saying. And Nadler just dropped that in there and then just carried on about his merry business.
Well, actually, it was great because he starts off with Lindsey Graham. And he's like, there's somebody else who thinks that it doesn't take a statutory crime to impeach a president. That would be the current Attorney General, William Barr. And then he read out a quote from Barr from 18 months ago. And then he's like, oh, yeah. And then the one Republican witness they called to the judiciary, Jonathan Turley, had this to say. It doesn't have to be a crime. And then also Alan Dershowitz. There are a lot of things on that we disagree on. But I agree with 1998 Alan Dershowitz. Listen to him. And he's talking about the Clinton impeachment. He's like, it doesn't have to be a technical crime.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good that you mentioned Turley. It reminded me of the thing that going back to the very, very start, Adam Schiff's opening gambit was it shouldn't be a surprise that the White House president, the president's counsel, is a criminal lawyer rather than a constitutional one, because they couldn't find a constitutional one who agreed with them.
Yeah. And
literally put up a quote from Turley, who the Republicans were raving about because he sort of almost agreed with them during the House, basically saying, yeah, he doesn't have to be a crime, dude. Or words to that effect. He's a little bit more formal than I, but you know what I mean.
You know, more professorial language.
Yeah. No, he said, it doesn't have to be a crime, brah. Chill.
Oh, what you eating? Carrots?
Chocolate. Fuck carrots. I'm not a fucking hamster.
That helps you when you're sick, especially if it's a bacterial infection. Sugar just feeds the bacteria, so that's good.
I don't give a fuck. Kristi, what about what we've discussed in the last 2 years makes you think I want to continue living in this shithole of a world? Really?
We're gonna drag you year after year through it.
I'm just too lazy to actually go through with anything, so I'm going to kill myself with chocolate over a long period of time.
That actually might be subconsciously my plan as well.
Yeah.
Chocolate. Because
the buses don't want to seem to hit me, so, I mean, blood pressure, that'll do it. Cholesterol.
It is a complete show trial. And the thanks for piping in, Daniel, in the chat, because it reminded me that there's some polling out.
Shut up, Daniel.
That shows recent polling put the point estimate, so margin of error probably 3 or 4%, but support for impeachment and removal at 51%. And I know we're all freaking out about Trump's reelection, but I think in any other presidency, looking at it from the outside, you're like, 51% of the people in this country already want this motherfucker impeached. How is he going to get reelected? And I'm not saying it's a foregone conclusion. I'm saying that sometimes I think we have to look at the polling and remember that we have the wind to our backs when it comes to Trump and the next election, because literally every single Democratic candidate beats him, even in the early primary states and the swing states. So, I know it hasn't really started yet and the Republican machine hasn't turned on, but I would much rather be at Trump at 51% in favor of removal than at 75% against it,
Can I just point out to Geraint in the chat who says, carrots, there have never been carrots in Birmingham ever. I'll just say 2 words. Jasper Carrot. Boom. You don't know who that is?
No. Who's Jasper Carrot?
He's a comedian from Birmingham. So that's literally true. Well, his name was something like John Davis or something was his real name, but his stage name was Jasper Carrot. He was very famous. Back in the 70s.
He was so famous you had to explain who he was to us. Okay. All right.
Well,
I mean,
to you,
locally. Yeah.
Well, you weren't here in the 70s, but what? Neither was I. But look, you weren't raised in this culture. God damn it.
Okay, true. I've already got your boxers and your T-shirts, so I'm not going to take your Birmingham culture too.
You have not got my boxers. If you have, can you clean them and give them back, please?
Right. So that. Anything else about today you wanted to say?
It was raining today.
How about the impeachment thing? So I think the House is going to wrap up.
I'm not sure it was raining there. I don't know.
Now, technically, because of the change in the rules, initially it was supposed to be 2 days of 12 hours, and it's turned into 3 days of 8 hours. I suspect that the House will sort of wrap up, but I don't know that they're going to give their closing arguments because, again, they'll probably want more primetime coverage because this is not just them presenting the case to the Senate. In a lot of ways, you know, as has been pointed out, maybe it was Miss Snarky in the chat, that the Senate's on trial here because this is all the evidence that the House is laying out, they're also laying out to the American people. And anyone who watches the House managers can not help but be impressed. Lindsey Graham went up and shook Adam Schiff's hand and told him he did a good job. That was reported.
Okay.
From one former House manager to another. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're still going to vote against him.
Of course. But I think, you know, you still tip your cap when you realize you've got somebody who's that good, you know, as a professional nod from one person to another. I think that what they'll do is they'll probably do some more closing arguments. It'll be a restatement, but they'll put it, so we'll probably hear more Alexander Hamilton, more George Washington. It's strange almost how we've got almost a religious history now building up around this. That's the other thing.
It is. Yeah, there's a kind of
mythology or not. But you know, it's like
it's almost a beatification of the founding fathers. It's ridiculous.
But on the other hand, Adam Schiff also made, I think, early on when he first mentioned the founding fathers, he said, you know, and they had things that they did that were painful or something. I mean, it was basically a nod to the fact that there was slavery issues there. So he didn't just sort of beatify them. They've also, at least, you know, initially when he opened it up. But in terms of quoting what the founders had in mind, there's definitely a lot of sort of like appeal to authority that is quite, I think, because I deal with data and I deal with a scientific method, I don't really have to ever go to opinion alone, or I have to specify opinion is different from fact. Whereas law, which is, I almost thought about going into law. I think I would have been a pretty good attorney, but you have to make a good case, not based on just data. You have to be able to be persuasive. And you do that in a law case by precedent, right?
You couldn't have borne boxers then because you would have had to be interested in briefs.
Legal briefs.
Legal puns. Nice.
And because I didn't go to law school and I didn't hear, you know, this judge said this and that judge said that, I'm not quite used to hearing an argument built upon other people's opinions alone, sort of. And it's the weight of the positions they held that gives them the authority to influence how we interpret it today. And it's a very different way of thinking about, because I've always felt like the Constitution, this is another thing too, there was a great moment where Adam Schiff talked about how because we've lived for so long in a stable democracy and we've been relatively prosperous and our country mostly has been internally, especially for white people, peaceful, we sort of forgot that, we kind of thought that the institutions and everything was a lot more solid than it was. And if anything, in the last couple of years, we've realized that these things can go away very quickly. And however he put it, I remember feeling very much that same thing of, I, until 4 years ago, wouldn't doubt the solidity of our institutions. And today, I wonder if they're going to be the same in 4 years' time, if they'll even exist the way they were when I grew up before Trump. Is there going to be a pre-Trump and a post-Trump America? Is that what we're teetering on the edge of? We won't know until we look back, but I'm looking down the precipice right now and wondering.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's a perfectly reasonable worry. Yes.
Yeah, so sorry to be so somber about it, but these are weighty matters, and everyone kind of gets so caught up in the circus and the drama and the tit for tat that I think it's important that we do take those steps back. And Adam Schiff was, and I think actually the House managers in general are doing a very good job of taking those steps back and reminding not only the Senate of their constitutional responsibility, but the American people of our constitutional social contract and the values that we've all signed up for, and why they've produced the stability they have. We've just kind of been living in this house, not understanding how it was built. And now a storm has come along. And if we don't understand maybe how, when there's damage to it, if it's really structural damage or just cosmetic, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. You say not wanting to be somber about it, but I don't know how you could not be somber about it. These are weighty matters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did Nancy Pelosi quote? The times have found us. Yeah, we didn't sign up for this. We kind of, we were born in a time where Donald Trump eventually became a president during our lifetimes. So this is our problem to deal with.
Yeah, but she also said, fuck the police coming straight from the underground. So
and then she put on her sunglasses and walked away from Donald Trump.
She did. She just said, blocking out the haters, and strolled on a merry way.
The White House, so if coming back to the arguments again and the impeachment, on the premise that they'll then take some time tomorrow, but probably not the full 8 hours, we should see the closing statement. Basically, the closing arguments. This is it. This is the House trial. Unless they've been able to persuade people like Lamar Alexander and maybe, I think it was Ben Johnson, who might have said he'd heard new things, or maybe some other people.
Dave Bin Laden.
Yeah, that guy. This is Senator from bumfucked. Then
from Idaho.
Yeah. What's interesting?
They definitely elected Bin Laden in Idaho.
I'm sure that's where he's from. Yes, the Bin Ladens from Idaho. They're a very, very prominent family there.
Yeah, they're old money Idaho. Absolutely.
Ranching, cattle.
Exactly, famous cowboy name, the old Bin Ladens.
The thing is, though, the Senate rules say that they're meant to be in session for whatever, like 10 hours or 8 hours or 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. They only get Sunday off until the trial is over. But because it started with rules on a Tuesday, and then they were supposed to have 2 days of 12 hours, but now they've lengthened it to 3. That means that the House manager team went on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and the president's team is going to start on Saturday when viewing is going to be much lower. So it will be interesting to see if the Senate will find a way to basically recess on Saturday so that the president will get better ratings on Monday. Watch for that.
Yeah, that will actually be an interesting dynamic I hadn't considered. Because I didn't know they were going to be...
I actually heard that on MSNBC. I wish I remember who said that, but it wasn't my original analysis, I should say. But it is an excellent point, and props to whoever brilliant person pointed out the calendar. Dave
Maddow.
Dave Maddow, was it? No, it definitely was a commentator, not a host, I think.
Okay.
It was a guest. I don't know. I mean,
good morning, Dave.
Like, there are some... What annoys me... Can I just go off on a tangent here? Because that's basically the theme of this show. Journalists walk, for me, a very fine line between playing the person who in the audience needs to have something explained to them so that they have the background or they understand the subject that's under discussion. And then there are times that they ask questions that just, like, don't connect to reality for me. Like, it's a complete wasted question on something that's so preposterous or unlikely that you have to wonder, like, did you write these questions down before you started? Or did you come up with that on air? Because I thought about the question when you got to the end of the sentence, and I already saw a bunch of problems with it. So, all right. So anyway, Chris Matthews especially. I'm sorry, I'm just going to have a dig at him. But Chris Matthews is especially annoying for that. asking the most ridiculous. Why do you think he does that? How the fuck is anyone supposed to know why a person thinks about something or does something other than that person? What is this empty speculation?
I've been watching quite a lot of this on CNN, so occasionally it'll cut back to Wolf Blitzer, who, I mean, I already had a pretty low opinion of.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this in the past. Other than the beard. The beard remains flawless. But other than that, his journalism is shit. But he's even surpassed himself in this. Just the most pointless. You're going through one of the most consequential and important stories you will report on in American, internal politics. Yeah. Outside of like war or something like that, this is the most important thing you'll get to talk about. And it's like he's talking about what he had for cereal.
His voice is the same modulation for everything.
Yeah, exactly. I just think,
is he a robot?
Put life into it. Give me something. Give me some. There's no insight. There's no analysis. No. There's no intellect. There's nothing. There's
He's
literally
been doing
nothing.
this for decades. He's been doing this for decades. You think he would have this deep knowledge of reporting in the moment on these events?
Like eating cardboard.
he is cardboard.
He is. He is.
He's like a cardboard stand.
It's not. He's like. It's a problem, right? I think the problem with having a beard that awesome, all of his good genetics went into the beard, and he was just the dregs were left for the rest of him. Like twins, where the good DNA goes into Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
Because that's totally how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course it is. That's biology, motherfucker. Science. In the case of the symbiote is Wolf Blitzer and Wolf Blitzer's beard.
Yes.
The beard got all the good DNA, and Wolf Blitzer got fuck all.
Right.
Yeah.
Like anyway, if he went into the spa that Rick and Morty went into that sucked out all their negativity, all that would be left would be the beard.
The beard would be the only thing remaining, yes. And it wouldn't fall to the floor. It would still remain
in
place
just float.
At chin height for
just
eternity.
Get on with his life.
Yeah, exactly. It would live a full and wholesome life, free from the shackles that is the rest of Wolf Blitzer.
Finally liberated to be its true self.
Exactly. Free at last, thank fuck almighty, free at last.
Okay, how did we get here?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Wolf Blitzer's shit. The basic point is Wolf Blitzer's really bad at being a journalist.
Yes, as is Chris Matthews.
He should either stop or get better.
I kept asking myself...
He's shown no inclination to do either.
No, he's just going to keep roboting it out till he retires or dies. That's it.
Exactly.
That's it.
And it's a shame because occasionally they'll partner him with like a person who is a good journalist, or at least an okay journalist. Which, I mean, frankly, if you put a corpse next to him, then you'd think to yourself, I'm not sure which one of these motherfuckers is dead, but okay. So they put a decent person next to them,
and then he just looks more wooden.
It's like a fucking. It's almost like you're watching someone do ventriloquism on a journalist when you've got the actual animated, thoughtful, interesting question guy next to him. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I think
I've ripped on that. That's all my Wolf Blitzer material now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So I've wondered to myself over and over, why do they have Chris Matthews on? He keeps putting his foot in his mouth. He comes at everything from the perspective of a Roman Catholic from the suburbs of Philadelphia. And in most of his analysis and his references are things from the 1940s and 50s. And then I thought, oh wait, he's at the 5 o'clock slot, so he's like the seniors demo. Like for the people, he's definitely like a specific demographic of people who don't mind being shouted at because everybody they know shouts because nobody can hear.
Yeah, exactly. The kind of people who still think the Beatles are a bit edgy.
Yeah, well, yeah. Like you know how like
that young Elvis lad shaking his hips, outrageous.
But you know how parents, especially of younger kids, they develop this sort of cone of silence when their kid is whining or just being loud, and they just like
zone it out completely.
Yes, and that's what. But it's kind of the other thing when you get older and you can't hear anymore, or whatever. Other people start to lose their hearing, and you just shout at each other all the time, a bit louder, and so you just talk all the time like that. I think now I'm being ageist probably, but I'm trying to do it in a loving way.
Probably.
So I'm gonna. I can't wait. I always turn off Chris Matthews. All right. So anyway, the House. Oh, let's talk about. Oh, we talked a little bit about the House attorneys, but we haven't really talked at all about their case argument. Any thoughts on what they've said so far?
It's impossible to talk about that which does not exist.
That's
Krista.
True. That's true. It seems to consist of being mean to Adam Schiff, the House Democrats, and Jerry Nads, the Rad Nad.
Yeah, how can you be harsh with Swifty and the Nads?
It has to be Jerry Nadler with the Nads on his shirt for Morty. That's it. Yeah, Adam Schiff is Rick, and Jerry Nadler is Morty getting Swifty with it.
And then the big floating head alien that's making them do it is Nancy Pelosi.
Show us what you've got. And then when they get done, she gives them a little Trump clap.
Yeah, exactly. Just a
little sarcastic golf clap.
Oh, they just give them a little treat.
I think they should
little doggy biscuit.
I just think they should have handcuffs under the desk behind Nancy. I'm in front of Nancy Pelosi. Just pick them up. Nah, she's too graceful to do that.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
yeah, it's going to be an interesting State of the Union. But yeah, the House arguments are pretty much being mean to the Democrats and saying the president can do whatever he wants because when the president does it, it's not illegal.
And he was treated so unfairly.
Oh yeah, he refused to turn anything over, and he refused to participate in any way. But they denied him his due process.
Why are people still talking about fucking Jasper Carrot? Jesus Christ.
That's our chat. They know what the important things are. Where is Jasper Carrot? Jasper Carrot and Victoria Wood, both
Karen
legends.
Jones, he's still on the... It's still on the page, and it was like fucking... it seems like an hour ago.
People type stuff in the chat that's more topical and current because it distracts Kevin.
Is CNN really as sinister as Fox News? No, not in the slightest. But it's still a bit shit.
Here's my problem with CNN.
It's good.
From what yeah, go ahead. You go finish.
No, I was just going to say, you go for it.
Oh, okay. All right. What I like about MSNBC is that it's more like The Guardian. No, it's more like British politics or like The Guardian or The Independent. You know that they're coming from a perspective. Right? It's not about having a left-wing bias so much as maybe one paying attention to certain things that people on the left care about more than, say, what the stock market did. I never see anything about the stock market except maybe at lunch hour on MSNBC. It's just not something their audience cares about. And also they have a more left perspective on economic reform and the Constitution and rights. And they don't hide that. They kind of wear it on their sleeves, a lot of them. CNN does the thing where they pretend they're neutral, and then they both sides in. They bring in people who have facts and are right, and some people who are on the left, as well as having those other things. And then they'll just bring in someone like Rick Santorum, and he'll talk crap, and he'll gish gallop, and he'll put out misinformation, and they don't have time to break it all down. And they treat it like, well, both sides have equal time and equal value. No, they don't. They really don't. And then Fox News just does what MSNBC does, but without any facts and with a perspective that's not even based on small government anymore. It's just totalitarianism. It's white supremacy. So,
actually, it's interesting you mentioned the small government thing, because I was thinking about it today. Reading the thing about the fucking deficit's ballooned under.
Yep.
Trump will stop again because massive tax cuts and massive hikes in what was already a phenomenally bloated military budget.
Yeah, he's talking about cutting Social Security now. He's talking about cutting Social Security. Yeah.
Which is like a tiny, tiny fraction of the pie.
Yeah, and it's just people paying their own money into their future pension. Yeah. It has nothing to do with taxes.
Anyway, so, and I was comparing it to under Obama when the Tea Party were kicking off about the debt, the debt and the deficit and blah, outrageous. And it's skyrocketed under Trump. And the very same people, silence.
Yep, nothing.
Absolutely.
That's because...
I begin to think that there might be some sort of difference, and I can't put my finger on it, between Barack Obama, the black man, and Trump the orange man, white man, sorry, that they don't necessarily like, but it's not about the economics or the politics. What could that be? What could that blindingly obvious racial problem be?
Rachel Maddow's put out this time series analysis that shows if you go back to, say, Reagan and then Bush won, they left the country in a deficit. Then Clinton came along and left it in a surplus. And then W came along and left it in a massive deficit. And then Obama came along and it recovered. And then Trump came along. So Republicans actually spend money, and Democrats clean up their mess and reinvigorate the economy.
Yeah, tend to.
Yeah. So yeah. So we've got we were trying to get to the president's arguments, and we've got Alan Dershowitz coming up too, apparently.
Oh, I can't wait.
But they're going to have it's going to be a tough act to follow. I hope they up their game. If they just stand up there and talk this whole time with no visual aids and no video clips and nothing to break it up, if the senators were bored last time, they're just going to get bored with repetition within 4 hours of the House team.
Yes, basically.
You're eating chocolate.
So,
that's okay.
Not okay. It's incredibly unprofessional.
Well, you know that we've not had any technical problems because we've not had any audio visual ourselves this show.
Yet.
I'm looking into Zoom, but it looks complicated. I have to learn stuff.
Definitely. Yeah.
So.
Anyway, are we done with that? Because I've got stuff.
Yeah. You want to share? Are you ready?
Yes, I do.
Are you all set up, or do you want to give your computer? Do you need to do some backstory while your computer loads stuff?
How dare you? How dare you, Kristi? That's outrageous.
That's what you did last time.
It is, but also shut the fuck up. Would be my advice. Anyway, so we left the story last time with Lawrence Fox. Are you sharing the screen, Kristi? Can people see this?
It's so big.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. You didn't have to say that.
Yeah, thank you for lying. Lawrence Fox, we talked about him before, actor, complete nobody really, on the political stage until he decided to be a bit weird and racist on the TV.
He was a shitlord.
Yeah, been shitlordy. And now it's gone to a new level of fucking nonsense. Talking about the Sam Mendes film, which I haven't seen yet, but apparently it's quite good. 1917, which as the name would suggest is about World War One.
Yep.
And Lawrence Fox said, because he's doing the shitlord rounds at the moment.
Yep.
Just saying any old crap, shit. Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said.
Being lauded for it by
quote,
older white men.
Indeed. He said, quote, "It's like there were Sikhs fighting in the war. Okay, you're now diverting me away from the story. There is something institutionally racist about forcing diversity on people in that way." Unquote.
What?
No.
Okay,
yeah,
please.
I thought I'd just briefly break down the numbers for you, just in case you were wondering. Now, the person he's referring to there, there's Sikhs is a type of religion, obviously, from India.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought we'd take a look at the numbers. He's saying, basically, there wouldn't have been a Sikh there. That's silly. That's forced diversity, guys. Honest, right?
Forced diversity.
And he
keep the people of color out, basically.
He couldn't be more wrong. Because as we see here, these are deaths from the First World War military casualties. India sustained 64,449 deaths, combat deaths. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, not all of those would have been Sikh. About 10% of the population of India at the time was Sikh. So even if that's the case, 6,500 basically would have been Sikhs if it was proportional. Which, by the way, the Indian deaths surpassed the Canadian deaths, the Australian deaths, the New Zealand deaths, and if we South African deaths, obviously. And if we scroll down, Belgian deaths, which is amazing because the war, literally part of it happened in Belgium, but they lost fewer people. And the deaths of the United States. Wow. India lost more troops in the First World War than the United States. Now, the United States came in late, but they were a major combatant. Mm-hmm. And they still lost fewer people than India. So for this privileged little cockhead to go around besmirching the memories of these people by saying it's forced diversity, fuck you, Lawrence Fox, you historically illiterate prick.
Do you know, I concur with all of that because, okay, let's say that the film is set in a location where Sikhs weren't known to serve. Even so, it's an adaptation. And by including even one Sikh soldier, however many was, or a troop or whatever, it's a nod to the wider global sacrifice that was going on and being. That's not forced diversity. That's artistic interpretation.
Yeah,
it's not a documentary. They're not pasting in people marching, from film footage from the old times. They're talking about an adaptation. So even in the worst case scenario, it's still art.
Also, there's no such thing
worst
as
case.
Weren't known to serve in X area, because unfortunately what tended to happen was that entire brigades would be destroyed, apart from one or two. So basically it ceased to exist. So those one or two people would be incorporated into other regiments, other companies, other armies. And so you would have weird situations where you'd have like an all-white unit who suddenly would have Mr. Singh dropped into their laps.
Right.
Because his regiment had been destroyed on the battlefield and he was just left. So there would be weird situations where you'd have entirely white groups and then a random black dude or a brown dude just there.
Well, thank you for that information.
There's literally no such thing as was not known to serve there. And often, as with the ages of these people, they wouldn't necessarily always know the specific details of these individuals because they weren't very picky. If someone signed a serve up, they'd just take them. And like I said, this privileged little prick living on the back of these people's memories, which, by the way, I'm not saying you owe history anything, but don't shit on them. If you want to be a prick about it, just shut up.
Yeah. He doesn't have to have an opinion on everything because clearly he doesn't know very much.
No, he doesn't.
Just
like it's like him trying to fucking explain that woman's professor's entire fucking
feel to her,
when he clearly doesn't know shit. Yeah. And it's forced diversity. Fuck you piece of garbage.
That's really white supremacist code language right there. By the way, has Menendez, is his name? Sam Menendez?
Sam Mendes.
Mendes. Has he replied or responded at all?
I don't think he knows or cares who this person is. He's like a proper Hollywood. He's done massive films and shit. Was it him who did not Titanic? What did he do? He did one of those big films. Anyway, so he doesn't give a fuck who this prick is.
Yeah, to quote Eminem, if it takes for getting so long to get back to him, if it takes so long to hit my fucking radar, it's because I'm so far away. Like, I don't hear your noise. It doesn't even register.
By the way, on that point, did you see there's a bit of a schmozzle apparently on his new album? There's a line about the Ariana Grande concert bombing.
Oh no, I haven't listened to the whole album all the way through yet. So,
but apparently so, and it's not great.
Yeah, well, he's god.
To do it, but it's
no, I'm not gonna
I'll wait for you to actually listen to it / read the lyric, and then we'll talk about it later.
No, okay. Can I give you a mini preview? How do I explain this? It's like, for me, listening to him and the way that he puts his cadences together, and the way that he does similes and the images that he kind of creates with language is fascinating, but it feels like it's a cathedral built out of shit sometimes, because he just puts stuff in there and it's so terrible, but it's mixed within this framework of other things that just astound me, and it makes me very conflicted. So that's my take on M. Yeah, I mean, it's he really has he considers in his art kind of like it's art. There's no limits because it's his art. So he's anyway. He crosses lines for a lot of people, including me, and so it leaves me conflicted. That's what I'll say for now. More about Lawrence Fox?
Yeah, again, continuing to argue with people. Someone made, I think what he's obviously over the top.
Sorry, I'm reading this and I can't possibly take this seriously.
Yeah, ridiculous. Anyway.
Please, you're going to read it out.
But this person professes to be trans. Now, I don't even know if this is a real person or another one of these fake accounts or whatever, but he decides to be transphobic with it anyway. So, I mean, you can read, so you know it's coming, but anyway. But so I just want to read this out, because this is exactly,
that's what she said.
This is an amazing sentence. They're right. I'm just going to read it through. Lawrence Fox is literally worse than a 50-foot Hitler made out of Donald Trump's dried semen being dragged across the street by black orphan children with gender dysphoria who are denied hormone blockers and have no access to Hannah Gadsby's latest Netflix special. An amazing sentence. To which he decides to just be a prick and go, "You motherfucker, Jarvis, what do you even know? You aren't even a real woman."
Also, way to completely steal this this way of speaking from Black Twitter. Can you pause for just a second? The whole clapping thing. That's not yours, white person. You're appropriating that. Stick with your British culture. That's so polite. That's what you know.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know that motherfucker is necessarily very light. Mm-hmm. Just saying, Loza. Anyway.
So you're gonna get all snippy about white privilege, and then you're gonna just take culture from other people.
Yeah.
And make it white by changing the black hands to white hands. Thank you.
Yeah. Also, just going back for a second, the fact that he thinks that someone putting a brown person in a film is institutional racism against white people. Again, amazing.
Forced diversity, it sounds like white supremacist code to me. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, basically. Yes. Anyway, but moving from one white supremacist garbage bag to another, Stefan Molyneux being creepy again.
Oh, God.
We've talked about previously when he, to celebrate or to congratulate Taylor Swift on her birthday, talking about how many eggs she had left.
Yes.
That's normal. Mm-hmm. Decided to go one further with Tulsi Gabbard. Now, regardless of what you think of Tulsi, this is ridiculous. He says, "Wow, Tulsi Gabbard is 38. No kids yet on her second marriage. I hope she's thinking about having kids. Can you imagine how much fun it would be to grow up in Hawaii? The door is closing fast. Ambition alone can't keep you company in old age."
There's so much wrong with this. There's so much. Where to even start?
Creepy. Why do you think? What makes you think? Like, you hear, "Oh, it's Tulsi Gabbard's 38th birthday," which I didn't even know, because who cares really? But yeah, and it's just like, she hasn't got any children. To Twitter. Yeah. Like, what? You're fucking mental.
This obsession.
You're really strange, Stefan.
Yeah, he's got this weird obsession with women's fertility, especially, I don't know, it's white women's fertility, but women's fertility in general.
Is Tulsi Gabbard technically white? I'm not sure.
I have no idea what her ethnic background is.
Even so, it doesn't really matter.
In terms of his history, it's people like Taylor Swift and other women. He's talked to women about having babies, and also this whole thing. Why should you have kids? Because it would be fun for a child to grow up in Hawaii. That's not a reason to have a child.
Firstly, she's not necessarily going to live in Hawaii, is she? She might decide to live on the mainland after she retires or whatever to raise her kids. Or she might still be working in Washington, in which case the kid will probably grow up in Washington.
But still, just wherever it would be, that's not a reason to bring a person into the world. It would be fun to grow up in the city. Let's create a life. No, that's not. And then the last one too, ambition alone can't keep you company in old age. You don't have kids so that you have somebody to keep you company when you're old. That's just so messed up to me.
Yeah, I do. Well, I was about to say I hope. It's not necessarily the case, but I suspect that Stefan Molyneux's child will disown him when they're old enough, because he's weird. I don't know. I fuck knows what he's like as a parent. Good God. Considering some of the shit he said, they're going to find that on the internet, dude, and they're going to be like, "Dad, I don't ever want to have contact with you again. You're mental. Please seek help." It is so strange. I mean, has he even considered? Firstly, it's weird that he gives a fuck, but secondly, maybe she either doesn't want to have a child for whatever reason, or maybe she can't.
Yeah. How does? Why does he have to have an opinion on?
Or
her
maybe
fertility?
her partner can't.
Yes.
Maybe they both can't.
Or maybe they don't want them. It's just, I understand where if you had a culture where there was no social security and no pension scheme because you were a farmer. I'm thinking mostly of in particular Chinese culture. I know the role of children, and actually a lot of East Asian cultures, the whole role of the child taking care of the parent, very, very powerful. In the West though, we, parents have state pension schemes, and there's healthcare available, and even dedicated housing. And so, like, having a child so that I have somebody to visit me, I just think that's like the worst reason in the world to get pregnant. It doesn't. Yeah.
But this is Stefan Molyneux and the quote unquote libertarian thing to the core. It's not what could be good in general. It's what can I get out of this? I'm going to have a kid so that I have someone to take care of me and someone to mooch off when I'm old or whatever his particular plan. Maybe that's his retirement plan. Mooch off the kid. I don't know. But not that I'm saying there's necessarily anything wrong with that. And if that's a thing that they're both happy with, that's grand. But the point being is, Stefan Molyneux, again, it's very transactional.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I put dick here, come, then the kid looks after me in 25 years. Like, it's weird. It's weird and unhealthy, Stefan. Really strange that you think, oh, you hear the news of a woman's birthday and go, I wonder how many eggs she has left.
Yes,
I'll do the math.
It's just, and he posted to Twitter too all the time. This sort of discussion about women. He has no idea who they are. He's not related to them. He's never met them, and yet opining on their fertility. It comes across as stalkerish.
Yeah, exactly. Decided to go onto Twitter and like broadcast this to the world. Look, we all have the occasional strange thought. But you think, well, that's not for public consumption. That one's staying firmly in the cerebral cortex, motherfuckers. Definitely. You don't go to Twitter and tweet that shit out. That's weird. Anyway.
The way that he kind of views women collectively and individually as brood mares. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. They're baby makers. That's it.
Misogyny is one word that really doesn't properly capture all the dimensions that underpins misogyny. And one of this is sort of like looking at women as breeding, like stock, and evaluating them in that way. And that's a part of misogyny because it's dehumanizing women. And even though it's rooted in hate, it's really about the dehumanization misogyny, is. So.
Yeah. But talking about more strange straight stuff, the heteros are at it again. I won't reveal the actual main bit of the tweet here because I want this to be a little bit of a surprise for everyone who doesn't follow me on Twitter. And if you don't, I don't know why. Because I give good tweets. Okay, shut up, wait an hour, dickhead. Anyway, it says here, this is from the Guardian, but whatever, it's a story. The Church of England, which is the established state religion here that I have to pay my taxes toward, yay. Says sex is for married heterosexual couples only, says the Church of England.
Oh, right? Okay. So you have to be married and heterosexual. Okay.
Yeah. But then the person who responds to this quote tweets it out with, I have some questions for the Church of England vicar who let me bareback him in 2016.
I did see this. You might have retweeted this.
I love it. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. I felt like, that hit my jaw. Oh.
Hit his jaw as well.
Yikes. Yeah.
So yeah, that was a nice riposte. Like, shut up, you dickheads, basically. Like, literally, who even asked you? No one goes to church anymore, you pricks.
Not in your country.
Not even straight people go to church anymore. You're just alienating everyone. Anyway.
Oh, gosh.
So yeah, those are my bookmarks. Some serious, some a bit mental. There we go. So I'll stop sharing that. There we go.
What times do we live in?
Anyway, so indeed, what a time to be alive, Kristi. I wouldn't choose any other time.
Well, there are
mainly
parts
because
of
the
it.
internet.
Yeah, I know. I say that.
Like, if you go back in time, there are no memes.
Yeah, there's no Twitter. There's no live streaming with people in other countries. You remember how expensive phone calls used to be internationally?
I don't, but back when landlines were a thing, I didn't pay bills, so
I paid a few phone bills in my day.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but I'm old.
We're all old, Kristi, and one day everyone will die and we will be totally forgotten.
By the way, Tufidi wanted to let us know she's Samoan, but I think she falls in with the promoting the right agenda exception when it comes to the white ethno state.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I didn't think she was no, I nearly said heterosexual. I'm pretty sure she is heterosexual. But Caucasian was the thing I was trying to say. Yes. Yeah. So she's Samoan. Okay, cool. Yeah. Or even Samoan, as you're supposed to pronounce it, apparently.
Is it like Sam?
Apparently that's how they do it. Okay. Oh, cool.
Okay. All right. Well, you're full of things today.
Well, no, it's just because they play rugby, so I've heard Samoans say Samoa.
Right, of course, yes. Because otherwise I wouldn't really come into contact with Samoan culture.
There are not a huge amount of them. Well, they don't, they're a pretty small place. Even American, well, it's American Samoa, because they pronounce it that way in American Samoa, because they're American.
Yeah.
and they're wrong.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't be the first time.
Also, an interesting bit on the international date line where it juts out so that Samoa is 23 hours ahead of American Samoa, which is like 50 miles away. It's ridiculous. Anyway.
That amuses me.
Yeah. Because they do more business with like New Zealand and Samoa, so they, and Australia, so they decided to change the time zone. But anyway, that's boring. No one cares.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
not people there. How many fans do you think we've got there in the Pacific Islands? Millions, I imagine.
2 when people go on vacation.
Well, I know. I look at my demographics occasionally, and I look to see where the people are viewing me, and I've got one particularly dedicated fan in like Yemen or something. Or Qatar, or some weird ass place.
Shout out
to the people of those weird ass places, but like, I mean, it's just slightly odd.
It could be a VPN too.
You're welcome. It could be.
But it's very consistent VPN.
Yeah, exactly. They choose specifically that one place.
Well, we'll have to shout them out, Yemen, on your channel, because they probably, I don't know if they make it to mine.
Kristi, I imagine the entire nation of Yemen, other than being genocided by the Saudis at the moment, are listening to this. They all enjoy
I haven't looked at my stats on that level for ages.
Well, no, I haven't for a long time. It's just when I occasionally do, it's like, I've got a weird number of people from, like, I don't know, Suriname or something.
Yeah.
Odd places in the world. You don't expect, as an Anglo, people to be listening,
True. I think that's the end of the show, right? We're just going to, keep watching the impeachment and...
Yeah. To be honest, it felt like the end of the show at the start of the show.
It wasn't that bad.
So,
and no technical problems, really.
No, that's true. That's because you were hosting.
And we didn't have any Skype or anything.
Yeah. So basically, I'm the problem. I think we've definitely got that.
No, I think the internet's the problem. I think it should just be you and me. We'll just talk about things. I'll scroll on my bookmarks on my phone, and I'll play this audio.
I don't know. Maybe just do the show via carrier pigeon.
Something like that.
Just cut the internet out. The internet monopoly needs to be challenged by the pigeon. Oligopoly? I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about now.
The Googleopoly.
The Galopoly.
Damn it. It went off. My assistant went off. It's listening. Whenever you say its name, it is listening.
Google. Fuck yourself.
Yeah, I can't hear you happily. But maybe anyone who's playing it on speakers, now their phones are going off. So you're welcome, everyone.
Yeah. Alexa, suck.
Happily, you cut out there. So, all right, I think we're at the end of the show. Very timely cut out. So enjoy watching the rest of the impeachment proceedings. We will be watching them as well.
Yes. Yeah, you can watch them with us in spirit, but not literally get out of my fucking house. And we'll see. If I'm not dead within the next few days out of whatever illness I've got, it feels like phlegm cancer. Is that a thing?
Yes. I don't think so. Oh, and by the way, 67% of the American people want to hear from witnesses.
Oh, cool.
That's a huge number.
Yeah. Well, 67% of people are going to be disappointed, I think, unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Because I think the impact of the House presentations, their arguments, is going to put a lot more pressure on Republicans than I think they thought, because they live in that Fox bubble, and I think they really thought the House didn't have a case. And now they're seeing that they actually do have a case, and they have some pretty powerful arguments.
Yeah, it seems that a lot of people, like I said, not just they live in a Fox bubble, but they weren't even bothering.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't listen to the fucking thing. Now, okay, they've got other shit to do. They can't just listen to the House Judiciary Committee hearings.
Mm-hmm.
But you think they'd have like the basics nailed down, right?
Well, they have a staff. You'd think they'd have someone like put clips together for them or give them segments
someone give me
to watch.
a briefing on this shit. It's the biggest story in the country. The fuck? For people to be walking out of this going, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Why? You're a fucking politician. What? If I know it, you should know it.
Not a bad point. By the way, Tony in the chat says, but Kev, I brought whiskey and lemsip. How rude.
Fuck you. And the second point.
And on that callback bombshell, you can see I've got my mouse hand hovering over the end stream. It's going to be time for us to say goodbye until the next time we do a stream.
Yeah, but we can't see that. You could be lying.
Oh, you're right. I'm not sharing the screen with you anymore. Sorry, because after you stopped screen sharing, I forgot to share the screen back again. Oh, now I have to do the whole
Kristi,
thing.
This is a major cover-up. We need an investigation into this.
Yes, that's it. We immediately need Congress. Oh, wait, we don't have time. Okay, so now you can see me hovering over the end stream button.
There we go.
All that's left to be said is thanks to the chat for stopping by on the surprise stream with only 30 minutes notice.
Oh, Tony, don't do silly face. You know I'm a knob. I shout to everybody.
Thanks to my co-host for coming on air when he's still ill and needs some whiskey and lemsip.
I'm dead. I'm basically dead already. At this point.
And thanks to people in the future who check out this video.
I'm still more fucking lifelike than Wolf Blitzer, the cunt. Fuck's sake.
And I hope to get another episode of the podcast out, which I forgot to do today because I got really busy, tomorrow. Yes, so goodbye from me and goodbye from recovering Kev. Say achoo, Kev.
Achoo, Kev.
You did the bit. Wee.
I did the bit. She pressed the end stream button. I don't know what point this is going to cut out.
About now. Bye.
Yeah.